So, just an introduction. My name is Tollefson, and I work with mainly immersion schools around the country these days, and STARTALK. And this is Lili Bueno. Lili, come up here. She's very modest, but she is a star Portuguese dual language immersion teacher, and she's going to be doing live demos. We did this in Utah this summer, and the teachers loved the demos. So Lili's the star. I'm just the filler. Okay. So your handouts, if you will look at them, you have, this is a book called 20 Plus Strategies. And the book is available on Amazon, and it's also available through ASCD. And although I get no commission whatsoever, I want to tell you this, it's a fabulous book. And all of our teachers, pretty much all of them, buy it once they get it. We're just touching the top of this publication and what it offers. So we want you to know that everything's taken from this book. It's ASCD, and the where you can buy it is here on your handout. So you don't have to worry about anything, okay? So this is going to be your textbook today. You'll notice that we have 4 pages, and on the back page, we have what's called a planning guide. We were being kind of, we didn't want to carry a lot of paper, so we only put 1. But we encourage you, as you play and talk and see these demos, that you look for things that would work in your classroom, or if you're a teacher trainer, that you could use with your teachers. We have now teacher trainers all over the country in languages using this, right? You're using it in New Jersey. We're finding teachers love it. So if your teacher trainer is just as good as if you're a teacher, right? You might talk about the Moser Standards Address and what you would do. One of the dangers of these kinds of activities is getting into the one-word response, right? And we don't want one-word responses. So think as we do them, how could you use them to get extended language from students, right? So just because you do a thumbs up, thumbs down, you'll notice we'll never do a thumbs up, thumbs down without a debrief at the end of it to get students to talk. So keep thinking about that. How can you use this with different levels of students? These activities are not designed for language students. They're designed for students, all kinds of students. And that's what we like about them. We've gone outside the field and found them. Okay, so keep those handouts close. Talk a little bit about the goals of this presentation. We want you to leave today, and especially if you come back tomorrow, with new techniques for cognitively engaging all of your students all the time. Cognitively. So let's think about what is cognitively engaged. On the back of your handout or on one of these, would you just write what you think the definition is of cognitively engaged students? Okay, I hate to break up wonderful discussion, but we'll come back to this too. So, get this to move. It's not moving. Okay, so just for a minute, can someone give me a definition of cognitively engaged? Okay. Okay, I'll come again. Yes, what's cognitively engaged?
I would say where students' thinking is activated throughout the learning.
Right. So they're thinking, right? They're thinking. I don't know about you, but about me. I suspect this about all of us. We're really good students, and we've learned how to fake engagement, right? We know how to pretend that we're paying attention. We're really watching Facebook or doing something else. And so our students do the same thing. So we have to make sure. And a lot of activities are fun, but they're not cognitively engaging. So that's what we're looking for, keeping them thinking, right? Boy, I'm not getting this to move. So that was the first one. Goal 2 of this presentation is learning ways to look for evidence of student understanding, checking for understanding. That's one of our big problems in our programs as we go around and look. You just teach and teach and teach, and you assume all the students have it. But we have to find ways to know that they're with us, to know that they're understanding. And TPTs, total participation techniques, are fabulous ways to check for understanding, because the students are going to show you something at all times in the presentation, right? So let's think for a minute. If I never spoke a word of English in my classroom, and that's what STARTALK is saying, right, 90%, but if you never speak a word of English, how will I know that my students understand and are learning? Okay, think about that for a minute. That's a question, right? I've heard you ask it. I heard somebody ask it this morning in one of the presentations. Well, you know, it's fine to speak Chinese all the time, but how do I know the kids get it? Okay, so I'm going to give you 4 examples, all right? And I want you to choose the best answer, and I want you to be ready to explain your answer to the whole group and to small groups. Okay. How will I know that my students understand if I never speak in English? 1, I'll ask them if they understand. Don't say anything right now. That's one choice. I'll wait until they ask questions. That's a second choice. I will give them a test at the end of the unit. That's a test. You have a lot of teachers say that. Or I will engage them in many activities that show me what they're understanding. Okay. So I'm going to ask you to hold up your fingers. What do you think is the best answer for this one? 4, depending on your culture. It's like that. I don't know. Okay, so 4. Obviously, right? Although it's obvious, but do we always pay attention to that? No. I can't remember how many times I've seen a teacher go, everybody understand? And the kids go, huh? They have no idea, right? But they don't want to tell you that they don't understand. So tell your neighbor why you chose number 4. You were unanimous. Why did you choose that? And why did you not choose the other ones? Okay. What are the problems with 1, 2, and 3? Anybody? What are the problems with 1 and 2 and 3? I'm going to go back and give them to you. What's the problem with 1? They're all going to say yes, right? I've watched a couple of demos in the language, and teachers are going, I have no idea what's happening, but they're agreeing, right? I'll wait until they ask questions. Same problem. Or I'll wait till I give them a test. Have you ever had that happen? I'm sure you have. When I was a French teacher, I have to tell you, high school, I wish I could go back and call all my students back and start over again. I thought I was so wonderful, and I would give them a test, and they'd all flunk it. And I'd think, well, how did that happen? Well, guess what? I didn't check. So, all right, so we know that we're going to give them activities. So that's the reason we're looking at these TPTs. Lots of ways for kids to show you they know what's going on. We're also going to use TPTs to improve your classroom management skills. Need I say more? Don't we find this is a problem in a lot of our critical language classrooms? Especially when we have teachers from other countries, they come in expecting American students to stand up, sit down, and be quiet. And they're not, right? So if you keep them busy, I can remember one of my sons coming home, and my 2 sons were just such problems because they were very bright and they got very bored, and they caused issues. And one of my sons came home and he said, Mom, do I look like a Xerox machine? All I do is copy. Okay, so we don't want that to happen in our classrooms, right? We want to keep them busy. So here are 3 goals. We're going to find techniques to engage all kids all the time, check for understanding to see if they're figuring out what's going on, and manage the classroom more effectively. Those are pretty good goals, would you agree? These do lots, but those are all problems we see in our STARTALK program. So as we look at these total participation techniques, there's some big ideas that we would challenge you to keep in mind. And if you buy this book, by the way, and honestly, I do not get a cut. No commission whatsoever. They talk about this a lot, but let's think, and these are all things you know, but just keeping in mind, students need to be cognitively engaged, not just following instructions, right? Or else they're going to be problems, and we don't know what they're doing, et cetera. Okay, so here's the second one, if I can get it back. The prompt is everything. And I think this is something that we really need to keep at the forefront. Write it on your forehead, write it on your hands. Student interaction will be only as powerful as the questions you ask. So, Lili, where are you? Would you come up here, please? I need you to help me in a demonstration. She's fabulous. Okay, I'm a native speaker of English, right? I speak fabulous French, but I'm a native speaker of English. And you are all going to give me a proficiency rating of my English, right? I want you to know if I'm a novice, novice mid, novice high, intermediate, advanced, superior. Okay. So Lili's going to be part of an OPI interview, and she's going to listen to what I say, and you're going to rate my English. Okay, Lili, do you remember what to ask me?
What do I ask you?
What do I wear to
Yeah. What do you wear to work? And
What do I wear to work?
yeah.
Oh, pants, a top, some shoes, underwear, always.
Great.
Okay, rate my English. Novice. I'm a novice speaker of English. Did you hear me? I spoke in a list. Okay. Right? So, if you think about this, how often do we set our students up by asking them for one-word answers? And then when they go to a proficiency test, guess what? That's all they can do is one-word answers. And so they're novice speakers. So, let's think about what a better question would be. What's a better question? Talk with your neighbor for a minute. What would be a better question to elicit more language? Okay, let's see what you came up with. Anybody want to volunteer a question? Anybody? Yes, right here.
Said why, like, what did you wear today and why?
What did you wear today and why, right? It's the only thing I could fit into, yes. Yeah.
How does the weather affect what you wear?
Okay, how does the weather affect what you wear? Yeah, yes.
What's your favorite brand of clothing? Why?
Why? The why is the important piece. If you ask me what's my favorite thing, I'm going to say pants. Right? I mean, you just, if you really listen to the questions we ask, we so often ask one word, questions that can be answered with one word. Anybody else have a great question? Yes?
What is appropriate in this culture to wear for that occasion?
Ah, yeah. Other than it's the only thing I can fit into this week, what in my culture? Told me I should wear at least a nice outfit that I was presentable, right? Okay. So you get the idea. So the big idea is the prompt is everything. And I think we really need to work with our teachers to make sure we keep that in mind, because I go out and I see a lot of STARTALK programs and a lot of them, and you just see it all the time. What's 2 and 2? 4. You just, it's pervasive. Okay. Big idea number 3 is assessment is not separate. Yes?
So can you provide us some more examples of better prompts on this topic for this particular example?
I think, does anybody else have examples of prompts?
No, just for this particular topic. Yes, I just want to.
Okay, let's do. Yes, back there. Randy.
Please talk about describing. Describe what you would wear to work.
Okay. Not just list it, but tell me what it looks like, that sort of thing. Yes?
Create a situation within which you will be wearing certain, clothing items.
Right.
Something, you are going to this wedding, what are you planning to wear?
Yes.
It depends, but it's really putting it in context. That is the meaning of the prompt.
Yes. Randy, do you have another one?
I always think it's helpful too to think about it in a real world context. We really don't talk about clothing in a real world context.
No.
Perhaps that topic isn't the best one to use as an example to do.
Are you criticizing my example? Yeah, but I think we say that a lot in our classrooms. It's like, I never in my whole life in Paris walked up to somebody and said, what do you wear to work? They're French, they would just go, they would walk away. Yeah, good point. Does that help at all? I mean, the thing to keep in mind is that you're giving kids open-ended questions if you want them to give you more language. That's the important piece. And I think we're very guilty of not doing that in our classrooms because it's so easy to do everything else. Okay. So, if you look at total participation techniques as ways to check for understanding as you go along, all the time you're engaging kids, you're watching them, you're noticing if they really understand what's going on. So as you look at these activities that you're going to be looking at and talking about, think about that. How could I use it to check for understanding? Does it allow my kids to for open-ended language, and et cetera? So this is part 1 this afternoon, and this is the oddest workshop I have ever done, divided into 2 pieces. But okay, so this afternoon we're just going to look at chapter 4, which are total participation techniques that you can just grab out of your bag at the last minute. You think, oh boy, I don't think the kids have this, I want a quick check. And on the spot, I can pick those up and see how they're doing, okay? Then Lily's gonna give us 2 demos. She's the star of this thing. I'm just the mouth, she's the star. So we're gonna do an activity called Quick Draw and another activity called Pictionary Plus. And these are just ideas that she uses in an immersion classroom. Which I hope we're all using it, immersion classrooms. And then part 2 tomorrow morning, we'll be looking at chapters 5 and 6, and she'll be doing another demo. So we hope you'll come back in the morning, but if you don't, at least you have this much to go, right? Okay. So that's our, oh, geez. So Lili, this is what looks like in Lily's immersion classroom. Lily's going to show you the quick draw. And I come from Wyoming, so that was my version of the quick draw.
Okay, so you're gonna have to move around, just so you know. And in your classrooms, your kids are gonna know your routines and how you make them to move around. So I haven't had you before, so I cannot teach you how to move around, but you're all adults, so you can do it. So I'm gonna need groups of 3 for this one, because that's gonna help with the next one, okay? And what I want you to do, so of course we haven't had a unit or anything like that.
How do we close out of this?
Here.
Okay.
And it's, where is the other one?
On my desktop.
Do you want to go there? And
I'll do my
good. Okay, so we are going to need groups of 3. And before we go to the questions, I need you to talk for at least 30 seconds. If you draw yours, I'm not going to accept it because you have to talk. And all 3 of you need to have the same answer. So this is called Super Teacher Tool. And I have taught 1st grade, I have taught college level, and I'm teaching 4th grade. I have used with all those different audience, they love it. Of course, you're gonna do at the end of a unit or so for 1st graders. We had tons and tons of pictures, of course. It depends which level you're working with, but just you can get the idea. Okay, so groups of 3, do you all have a group of 3 right here? No. So I need groups of 3, and put your hands on your head if you're ready, so I know, okay? If you have a group of 3. So class, when I clap my hands, you need to answer back to me by shh, shh, shh. So let's try. Perfect, now show me your hands. Thank you. So if you're writing or doing something because it doesn't work, right? That's what I saw with my 1st graders. I would do it, they would go shh, 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 and they'll look at me, but now you need to, thank you. Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate you all quiet and looking at me. Thank you so much. Yeah, so that's how it's gonna look like. This is not, there are no points right now. We're just gonna check how it's gonna work, okay? So I'm gonna go to this group of 3 people, and I'm gonna ask them which category do they wanna. You cannot get the language, which is your 1st language, okay? If you speak Spanish, you cannot get the Spanish one. Okay, anything, just choose one. Anything. Okay, Spanish what? Spanish 50. Okay, so then I go here. Okay. Did I get Dutch? Sorry, okay, that's fine. So right now, you all should be speaking, and all 3 of you need to write, just one person needs to write the answer, and you need to hold up for me. So that's why I gave this. I gave some of these around. You just need one for every 3 people. Does anyone need? I don't remember. I need to check. Yeah, that was Dutch. It's okay. So you would talk with each other. Okay. Okay, thank you. So that's how it's gonna work. You're gonna choose one and you talk with your group and you need to come up with a one common answer. And then you can hold up and show me. Okay, does that make sense? Okay, answer to what, see you later in Dutch. Answer to the question, yes, okay? Me neither, but it's just so you can see it, okay? So the point here, it's not the game. The point here, it's not what it is in Dutch or whatever. It's just so you get the idea, okay? So let's start it. Let's do one. Okay, I'm gonna go to this group over here. Which one would you like to pick?
Let's go with Italian.
Italian what?
30.
Okay. So everyone needs to answer this question, okay? Let's see what it is. Grazie means, go ahead. Just guess. Okay, I think so. Okay, hold up, I wanna see it. Okay, thank you. Okay, did you guys have an answer? Show me, quick draw, show me. Okay, good job, thank you. Let's check. Ooh, please, okay. But everyone has to give me an answer, even though if it's wrong, even though if you have no idea, I want an answer, okay? Okay, let's see back here. Please choose one. Any language you would like. Oh, sorry. I need to go there. So, Brandy.
Can we have German for 50?
No, you cannot. Another one.
Let's do general language questions for 50.
Okay. And everyone has to answer, okay? Okay. The language most likely be spoken by everyone in the world is, so talk to your group. Okay. 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 All right. Thank you so much. They got it first again, so let's check. I saw a couple different answers, but let's see. Ooh, according to this website. Okay, in our classrooms, we highly encourage you to have whiteboards, because if you had a whiteboard right now, it would be so easy. And there are tons of different things that you can do it. So the point here was just to show you a tool. You could just come to this one and change everything that's in here. You could start one from scratch. So let me show you right here. Yeah, you could search for something. You could share the one that you do in your language with other teachers. It's an amazing tool. Kids love it. You could use, yeah, you could put characters. Actually, talk to your groups and give me more ideas that you could use with this tool, okay? I'm going to give you 30 seconds. Go ahead. Thank you. I would love to hear some ideas. So anyone who would like to share? Yes, please.
Do a grammar review. So one is, like articles,
Mm-hmm.
A sentence or something.
Mm-hmm.
So they
Yes, perfect.
Yeah, I said also we can one language, but it covers different topics. Let's say colors, fruit, vegetables.
Uh-huh. Yes.
Days of the week.
Anything else? Yes.
Does it have to be word-based? Can it be visual?
Yes, you could have pictures. Yes. So I just finished a unit and we talk about reptiles, mammals, and amphibians. Is that how I say it? I don't know. I did it all in Portuguese. And they love it. They had to tell me which category the animal was from. So just one idea for you, okay?
So you make up your own. Is this like a tool for us?
Yeah. It's called teacherstool.com. It's on the PowerPoint. You're going to be able to see it, and you can create anything you wanted in there. Any like teachertools.com. Super teacher tools.
Super teacher tools. There you go, right there. Okay.
My question, so you have to create it yourself? So
You create it, yes.
nothing already ready?
They have tons, thousands of things that are already in there. I did not create that one. I just got something very quickly because I just want to show, because mine are all in Portuguese. Tons of languages. No, it's just a tool. Some people, they use PowerPoints. I think this one is much easier than the PowerPoint, because I have done the PowerPoint before. It's a lot of work. Okay?
Okay. So we would like you now to take your handouts. Would you like you to look on the second page? These are all on the spot total participation techniques. Okay, it looks like this. It's a plain thing. We want you in your group. We're going to give you about 10 minutes. I wish we had lots more. 10 to 15 minutes. We want you to read through those as a group, as 3 of you, and decide which ones might work well in your classrooms, which ones have potential, and then we're going to discuss as a group. Okay, so you're working in groups of 3. You're working on page 2 on the spot. These are the ones you can pull out of your hip pocket and use if you need something really quick, okay? Remember the big questions we're looking at. Again, how can you extend the language? How can you extend the thinking with these? And then classroom management. So go. I have to emphasize one thing. If you get this book, each one of these is described in detail with ideas for extending thinking, extending language. So we're just skimming along the top here for great ideas. And then you can go investigate them. So we've got maybe 4 minutes to debrief. So what did you think? Did you find one that really spoke to you that you think you can use? Anybody? Yeah. Yeah? Does anybody have one they'd like to volunteer? Yeah.
I use in my class most of the time, and it really goes for me because I teach now the 7th. Think, pair, and share.
Think, pair, share.
And quick draws.
Quick draw. We do so much think, pair, share, you know. And I think that's just an automatic. Everybody can use that all the time. Anybody else? Yes.
I really like the numbering kids together. We do a lot of group work, but I think it's a great way to push more kids to.
Would you talk just a second about that? Here, we've got a mic for you. Lili, do you have that mic? Yeah, that because we don't have people talk about that very often. The numbered heads one. She's got a number on her head. You have to turn it on.
Hello. I was just saying that I really feel the number of heads together is a really good option. Our school does a lot of cooperative activities, but I think pushing more varied student voices is I think it's a really great feature of that. It's the section where you give numbers out to each of the students, and so when they have to debrief, they don't know which number is going to be chosen, and it holds them all accountable, which I think is great.
So number 1s will report this time, and number 4 is the second time, or something else. So you mix it up. Otherwise, yeah. You know, there are those kids who came out of the womb with their hands raised. Would you agree? They always volunteer, but this is a way to get the other kids, right? Anybody else volunteer one?
Kristen has one
idea. We are talking about quick draws and to introduce cultural topics. For example, in Chinese culture, we don't have the shower at all. So when we're talking about it, I will ask students to quickly draw things related to this topic. We might have students draw a baby and taking a shower, something like that. And in this way, we can relate to, the topic culture and your own culture. Then we have the discussion and then move to the topic.
And the important word was discussion afterwards, right? But you're giving all children, some children love to draw. And that's a better way for them to communicate than in other ways if you're talking about some kinds of learners. Okay, we got time for maybe one more before Lili shows you another demo. Anybody else? Yes, over here.
I actually wanted to ask him more about the number heads, a specific example of maybe one activity, what can you have them do? Number 1 does this, number 2, number 3. Is there anything specific that you want?
Did you hear that, sir? In group work, you've seen the research on group work. One's the recorder, one's the reporter, one's the, So that's what he's talking about, yeah. Okay, we had somebody else raised his or her hand back here, I remember. Yes, sir.
I was going to say, look, I see how all of these could be used. I think, of course, it depends on whatever your objective is. So, for example, if I were to do a quick write, I could use it, for example, to maybe activate their thinking as a before activity.
Right.
And I think that's really important when you choose one of these is to make sure it has a purpose as far as
Right.
So for example, if my prompt, if I were teaching a lesson on the Boston Tea Party, my prompt wouldn't be to activate their thinking, what is the Boston Tea Party? Because they don't know what that is.
Right.
So you might pose a question like, have you ever been treated unfairly? Or something like that.
Right, something to get them thinking.
Use it to activate their thinking.
Right. Because you have to realize any of these can be used with any level student with the proper prompts and the proper format and the proper setup. They can also be misused. Because you see that. You'll see a lot of teachers go thumbs up, thumbs down. Is there any difference between do you understand? No. You say thumbs up, thumbs down, and kids go thumbs up, and you go, okay, they've all got it. Yeah. So if you say thumbs up, tell your neighbor why you said thumbs up. Find someone who had thumbs down. So anything to debrief and get language moving. So be careful with these. They're a lot of fun, but your point was well taken that you have to watch the structure of what you're doing. Okay? Anybody else? Yes?
So,
I'm trying to merge maybe the themes of two panels in one here. So we were talking about the strategies to get them all engaged.
Mhm.
Now, the other thing I'm concerned about is differentiation. So let's say they're all different levels, different levels.
Mhm.
So how can we address some of these strategies to get all to truly engage? In other words, you just said, well, give me a reason. So would I just leave that off for?
Some might draw the reason, some might say, and I'll say, I sound like a broken record, I apologize. In the book, they talk about a whole paragraph on differentiation on each one of these. Yeah. Because differentiation is critical, we all agree, right? And yet you still have ways, you have different expectations. I had a boy in my French classes years ago. If you put him in front of a mic or in front of a class, he would start laughing hysterically and he couldn't stop till he got down. It was a nervous reaction. So I had to find other ways to engage that boy because he simply was incapable of being in front of a group. You had a comment back there, sir.
Just a quick point on how to make a difference between being engaged to learning.
Well, you're not going to learn without being engaged, right? So.
That's right, but you're not going to be engaged. It doesn't work the other way.
No.
It doesn't necessarily work the other way.
Right. Good point. Anybody else? Okay, so now you're in for a real treat. Oh yes, one more comment, then you're going to get really involved. Yes.
I just wanted to say that the total participation techniques combined with kinesthetic classroom techniques, like passing a ball or stuff like that, really gets them up and moving. It's a nice combination.
Right. And I think it's number 6, chapter 6, that is things involving movement, so they're kinesthetic. And I have to say, if you get the book, especially those of you who teach at the university level, they have chapters 7 and 8 that are really excellent for university classes at the advanced level. For a workshop like this, it's just way too much depth, but it's a fabulous, so I really encourage you to look at that. Okay, so Lili's now going to show you an activity that's really a lot of fun, and you have to be in threes, everybody in threes. Okay, here she goes. Ooh, she's loose.
Okay, and what Anne was talking at the beginning about just using one word, and I think so many people using Pictionary. We all know about Pictionary. Last year, it's not my idea, I saw somebody doing it and I thought, okay, I'm gonna change it a little bit more. And Anne calls Pictionary Plus, because I was thinking I could add one more mode of communication here if I just add one more step. So I need 3 volunteers and someone who likes to draw. Can I have 3 volunteers?
You don't have to be good, you do have to like to do it.
Do you want to draw?
There's somebody back here.
Okay, I need to bring you.
Come on up, yeah.
Okay, and I need 2 more people here. Okay, come on.
You're all going to do this, so you might as well get used to it.
Yeah. And you may sit right here. And you can sit right here. Uh-huh. Okay. So we need this.
You need the squirrel. Yeah.
Oh, no, say
Oh.
Okay, so the way it's gonna work, and everyone is gonna do it, okay? So you are actually gonna be, she needs to see what you're drawing, okay? There you go, yes. So she needs to guess what she's drawing, but instead of looking at what she's drawing, she needs to describe it to her. But you cannot use gestures or anything, you have to use language, and you have to describe. And you need to know what she's drawing. Does that make sense? So because before, it would just be one word. Oh, you're drawing a bunny. That's it. Bunny, but now she has to describe to her what she's drawing. Now, it's a much higher level, and she needs to use description. Okay, so I'm gonna let you, so you cannot look right now, you need to. Thank you. I'm gonna let you look at this. Go on, just show her. Are you okay?
follow her.
Yes. Okay? Okay. Okay, yeah. Okay, go ahead.
It has a head. It also has a rounded body with a small nose it looks kind of like a bird. Oh, okay. The animal is eating a nut-like structure, and it has a tail, a curvy, looks like a hairy tail of some sort. It has feet. It looks like it has 4 feet. The animal goes to trees. It does.
See the drawing?
No.
The animal lives in a tree. It eats nuts. It has a hairy tail. And yes.
Do you want to guess?
Squirrel?
So be ready, because all of you are going to do it right now. So decide who's going to draw, okay? Right now, let's do it. Decide who's going to draw. First of all, I want to know if you have any questions about the activity. Do you know how to do it? Touch your nose and show me that you know exactly what you need to do. Now touch your head if you are ready to go. Okay, raise your hand if you are doing drawing. I want to see who's drawing. So you're the only one who's going to be allowed to look right now. Everyone else, please do not look. Cover your eyes. Cover your eyes, okay? Can I go? No, it's here. Yes?
Okay.
Okay.
Got it?
Okay, they shouldn't be seeing right now. Okay, if they saw it, it's okay. Let's go to the next one. Okay, only the person drawing should be looking right now.
Okay, everybody else.
Cover your eyes. Okay, cover your eyes. Okay, let's go to the next one. Okay?
Okay.
No. Okay, all right, go. You can go. Just go. Thank you so much. Who got it? Raise your hand, I want to see it. Nice, good job. I saw, and 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Good job. Thank you so much for being quiet and looking at me right now. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much for being quiet. Okay, I saw a lot of you having fun and laughing and everything. Of course, you're going to think, but that's a higher level. Yes, it is. But sometimes we also need to push students to describing a little more and not only using one word, okay? For the sake of time, we cannot go and do some more, but
we would love to have all of you be the artist, all of you be the describer, et cetera. So this is our agenda for tomorrow. We are at 9:15. We hope you come back. We're going to have more demonstrations, and we're going to talk about 5, 6. But before you can leave, in front of you there is an index card. We call those exit cards. If your students are getting ready to leave for lunch, for recess, to escape, you can have them write something on a card. They have to hand it in before you leave. So Lily's going to be back by the door, and you have to fill in your card. And here is what you're going to write on. How did this go today in this hour? What's your favorite technique so far? And what do you hope to do and see tomorrow in session 2, okay? When you're through, you can leave, and we hope to see you tomorrow.